And welcome into episode 8, season 3 of the Buffaloes podcast here on G Show Productions on gshow.ca. I'm your host, Graham, the G Show Forsyth. We're brought to you by Terrico, Movement Fitness and Performance, Goaltenders, Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia, and Elite Prospects. We're also brought to you by all of Pilot Mountain's sponsors and partners, as you'll see throughout this episode. But starting off with huge news. The Buffaloes seeing one of their players become a champion with Manitoba once more at the U16 level as Team Manitoba won the WHL Cup. It's the second time they've ever won it, and the second time that they have so, as they have done so since the 2023 year when Carson Carrolls was on that squad. So it seems like it's good luck when a Buffaloes player is playing in this event. And for Cole, he stood out for Manitoba. They had a lot of talent on this team, but still 7 points in 5 games played. He had 2 goals, and this post relating to those 2 goals is the CSSHL recognizing Cole as the Edmonton Oilers Kings prospect. Ended up doing this in their first matchup against BC. And for Cole Landerville, that a huge start to his tournament and right on for Team Manitoba to be able to come home with the gold medal. And me and Gordie Tumilson are going to talk about the WHL Cup just in a little bit here coming up, as we're going to talk about other things. Among those things are going to be past games and upcoming games for teams in the academy. We got into some marketing near the end of our segment this week, and of course, we talk about Cole, U18s, the 4 programs in general for the academy, but talking about Cole and his performance at the WHL Cup more so. Coming up on this edition of the Buffaloes podcast, the official Pilot Mountain Hockey Academy podcast on G Show Productions on gshow.ca. Gordie Tumilson joining this edition of the Buffaloes podcast to talk about games, past, upcoming, and about, well, we'll touch on some marketing stuff as well, as always, Gordie. We'll start off with U15s with a strong weekend for themselves as they ended up taking on the Estevan Bruins. Take us through the past weekend for the U15s.
Yeah, it's a good weekend for our guys, and that's an iconic franchise in hockey lore, I guess. If you go back a million years in Saskatchewan in particular, used to be a WHL or has a WHL franchise, and they were just top of the field for a long time. So playing against Esteban, they're close by. They've got a good AAA team, and our guys happened to win twice, beat them 7-2 and 5-2. So are pleased with that. And, it shows the depth of of the academy program versus, AAA program is, and, we're not the top dog in academy hockey. And yet, we had 2 pretty good games against them and won them kind of cleanly. So that's, augurs well for us in terms of the quality of players we have and getting better. We wouldn't have done this a month and a half ago. I can tell you that right now. Our guys have just gotten a lot better and a lot more confidence because they've won some games, but there were 2 good games. All the travel, both back and forth, was nice and safe. It was nice and easy, and that's the main thing. Yep, we're looking forward to the next weekend. So yeah, good on our teams to play well and keep the scores down in our end. That's important.
Yeah, a team that only gave up 3 goals in total this past weekend, winning 7-1 in the first game and then 5-2 in the second game. No worries there, Gordy. And I think teams had a lot of worries when Brock Vauden was coming down the ice in that first game. 5 goals, 2 assists for the kid.
Yeah.
Unbelievable performance. Him stepping up as well as many others, but what does that say about Brock Vauden just able to put the team on his back with that performance?
Well, yeah, at the moment he's got the team on his back and he's just absolutely superlative. it looks good on him, and it also looks good on our program. He played with us as kind of an underage guy last year, and has moved up into his second year, and bingo. Much like Cole Landerville and Maddox Ramage and Brett Boers, he's stepped up his game because he played high quality hockey last year. In whether he did really good or he didn't do really good, he learned. He's got the hockey IQ and the capability internally as a person to take that and grow. And that's what we do for hockey players at Pilot Mountain Academy. You get to play against great competition. You see where you need to do the work, and then you get enough ice time. You get a lot of ice time to get that work done. You get real special drills and special timeout and fitness and all those other things. So it really shows up when we talk about our program and how it affects the guys who are going to move forward in this game.
For Brock, it's actually his first points of the season, and yeah, looking really good overall this year. That's in terms of just CSSHL play
Yep.
specifically. Exhibition and tournament play, 10 points in 3 games played, 4 goals, 6 assists for the second year U15 Buffalo. Gordie, they're back into league action this upcoming week as it starts off Halloween night at the Hockey for All Center against Pacific Coast Hockey Academy, Shawnigan Lake as well at the Hockey for All Center, RHA Kelowna, and then yeah, that'll be all for now. That's on the schedule for this upcoming weekend. But how huge is that to have this type of weekend heading into games against really quality programs, building up some extra confidence beforehand?
Oh, sure. When you win 2 games, and we know we're playing against better teams next weekend. That's fair. It's interesting that so yeah, building the confidence up one weekend to feel good about your game, at least knowing that you can do some good things, and now you got to put them a bit up against better players, maybe, but go at it. But it's interesting. We're playing 3 BC teams, in Winnipeg. I'm
Yeah.
not sure why we're not playing 3 BC teams in Pilot Mountain. That would be an experience for those BC guys. I mean,
Yeah.
but anyway, I found that odd, except it's a showcase, and I get that. It's a special event and all that stuff. But it would have been nice to have these BC guys have the pleasure of playing in Pilot Mountain Hockeyville there. But anyway, it'll be fun this weekend. They'll enjoy it, and I guess it's all at the Rink Academy. If I'm not, oh no, it's at Hockey for All Center. I'm sorry. Yeah, there you go. Okay, there you go.
Yeah. And of course, for the U15, it's going to be nice to see them in action against CSSHL teams, how
Yep.
the improvements look against that type of competition coming up in a showcase at the Hockey for All Center. Gordy, before we continue on with Pilot Mound specific stuff, we got to talk about Cole Anderville and Team Manitoba, WHL Cup champions. And you know what's crazy is it's second time that a Buffalo has raised the cup, so seems like Hockey Manitoba, Pilot Mounds, a winning formula picking from.
Yeah, I don't think Cole had quite the effect that Carson Carls had, but he was tournament MVP, wasn't Carson? I think yeah, he was tournament MVP.
Yeah.
But anyway, Cole played great, and the whole team played great. Manitoba, and we're not supposed to win those.
Yeah.
Those are supposed to be won by Alberta and BC. So guess what? Nah, 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 nah. So one of those ones. Once in a while, little Manitoba shows up. Sometimes Saskatchewan shows up. Good for us. Those bigger provinces that have 3 times as many people don't always win, and so good for our guys to have the courage and the ability to go out there. And congratulations to the staff, the coaching staff, and the whole Manitoba Team Manitoba program for the excellent work there. And I know the goalie coach really well, Andy Kohler. Congratulations, Andy. Looks good on you, buddy.
Yeah, and of course, this team joining that team a few years ago that won with, of course, Carson Carroll's as well, the second Manitoba team to do it. And I know their coach had spoken before the tournament that they're They know that they're the underdog and they're going to embrace that. And Cole Anderville opened the tournament up with a huge game in that overtime win against BC with two goals as Manitoba went up 2-0. But for Cole, being able to have that impact, how huge is that? Knowing that he's going to bring that type of feeling hopefully back to his U18s this year that have been looking up as of late with how they've been playing.
Yeah, I think that's great. I mean, it's all confidence, right? It's just every sport, every player, every person in the thing, coaches, doesn't matter who you are, you're looking to feel good about what you're doing. You might not win sometimes, but you still want to feel good about the effort and the all that kind of good stuff. So yeah, so good on him. Yeah, Cole started off like I was a player. I mean, thank Christ for him. He was great, and he kept up his play. To be quite honest, I wish he was playing in the U17 program back home because I'm not sure that he's going to have quite the same effect at U18. He's going to grow into that program better. But, sometimes just, getting those extra goals and making those extra plays and doing all that extra stuff, at this U16 tournament, really makes a guy feel good. And, he would have the same sort of result at U17, I think. It's going to be harder for him at U18 to be quite as dynamic. We'll see. I hope he does, and all that good stuff. But it's good for your mental health to have big games and all that stuff. So good on him to do that there. Team to win, and hopefully he can bring it back. And yeah, our U18 guys are moving on up.
Yeah, we'll get into their scores in just a moment here from the past weekend. But for Cole Landerville, best points per game average right now on the U18s,
Yeah,
12 points in 7 games played. So yeah, it would be even crazier to see how he'd be tearing it up in the U17 program.
yeah,
Congratulations to him and who whoever else, everyone else that was involved with Team
sure.
Manitoba taking
Yeah.
home that gold medal this season. But against the seventh Fire Eagles this past weekend, Gordie Pilot Mound was able to come away with a victory on that game on October 25th. So on the Saturday, ended up losing the first game of the weekend, and then just taking a look at that
Overtime
final
loss in the
matchup
third game. Yeah.
ended up being an OT loss, 4-3.
Right.
But still a lot of positives from this past weekend, getting to play against some different competition.
Yeah. Well, we talked about Thunder Bay last week. They got a good team.
Yeah.
A physical team, big team, hard to move off the puck. And I think they surprised our guys the first game about how good they were. And sometimes we get scouting reports that don't measure up to the scouting the scouting report. So I think we had a false scouting report that didn't give them quite the credit they should have had from Thunder Bay. I know they're always tough and they're always good and they're always big and strong and whatnot. So good on our guys to come back and win the second game and then battle it right down. It's overtime on the third game. That can be a lucky goal or a good goal, whatever it is. So a split through the weekend is pretty nice, good for them, and that shows well for us. And you know what it does? It shows the people in Thunder Bay what kind of a program we've got. We've had some good players like Polonowski from last year. The last 2 years, he's gone to Humboldt. He's a guy from Thunder Bay, and we've had some others. So it's good to have them come to our building and see what we have because they go back and talk to people and say, this is a pretty good program. They got all kinds kind of, we have them over for lunch. I think they have them over for lunch one of the days or whatever, and show them, put them on tour just so they'll see and go back and talk about it. So we're trying to sell the program. It's part of our marketing program, by the way, our recruitment program to get more players. So yep, good on both teams to have a good weekend, and nice to see our guys continue to move forward.
Yeah, and of course, gearing up to play in some CSSHL competition. But once again, seeing the pushback from this group, not fully staffed, gotta be really nice to see if you're Coach Florentino, knowing even in the final game of the weekend, it goes down to the wire into OT.
Yeah. Players playing from the guts. They're just not playing. They're playing a little bit of emotion. They're not just playing the games. They're meaningful. They're meaningful not to the standings because it's not it's an exhibition series, but they're meaningful for the players' individual respect and growth, and certainly scouts are watching, and so they want to see them play at a high level of consistency all the time. A kid that plays really good one weekend and crappy the next, well, do we want this guy? We want to see somebody who shows up every weekend and plays really well. Yeah, they didn't have Cole and there with them, and that didn't help them. So good on our guys to play as well as they did, and show up for all three games.
Well, they'll be getting the WHL Cup champ back for this upcoming weekend as they'll be
We need
playing
them.
one game on the Sunday against OHA Edmonton down at Blackjack Stewart Arena. And Gordie, when you take a look at the U18 Prep CSSHL standings, Pilot Mountain currently ranked eighth, and OHA quite a bit below them. Now, doesn't mean much until you play the games, right? And OHA is going to be hungry, basically a reverse record compared to Pilot Mountain, 4-3 for the Buffaloes, 3-4 for OHA Edmonton, but the importance of this game, pretty big test early on in the season and a chance to separate themselves even more in that top 10 from the rest of the pack down below them.
Absolutely, yeah. They're above 10th, and that's a great spot to be in. It's early, and you're always looking at who you've been playing against before you get into, who's better and who isn't better. They OHA Edmonton's got Nax next door, so so
Yeah.
that's always going to be a tough battle. We've got RHA, so that's how that one works. But at the end of the day, yeah, it's who you played and what your standings are. So yeah, so it can be both teams can be 4-4, or we can be 5-3, and that would be neat to move up those standings. So good to have good games this weekend. Getting Cole back would be a nice thing for us, and hopefully we can muster a win at 10 o'clock in the morning. That OHA team will be on the bus for a number of days prior. Like they're coming into Winnipeg ahead of time. They're not coming in for one game. They're coming in for Friday, Saturday, Sunday. They get us on Sunday. So they're going to be a bit tired. Hope we've got to take advantage of that. We'll see if we're awake and do that on Sunday morning.
Well, you got home ice advantage too, right? As we just
Yeah,
basically talked about. 10 a.m. at Blackjack Stewart Arena. And yeah, catch that game on Flow Sports, Flow Hockey if you're unable to make it down. As for the U17s, Gordy, speaking of RHA, they took on RHA Winnipeg this past week. Take me through that matchup, how things went for the U17s.
it's a 5-1 loss. Getting closer. We got beat by I think about 9 in the first game and 6 the next game. So now we're down to 4 with these guys, and so and they start off with a ton of talent, which forces our guys to step up their game mostly defensively to keep the score down. We don't have a ton of prolific scorers. We got some good guys and can score some goals. This is where Cole would fit in nicely, but at the end of the day, we can't have him on both teams, unfortunately. So at the end of the day, we're getting closer to them. If we can, I'm not sure that we can ever keep them down below, the 4 or 5 goal against thing because that's almost now just on the goalies. The team has probably worked hard enough to keep it right down there, and the goalkeepers are just going to have to step up and just be even better. And I'm not sure that they can be, but they're working really hard. I guess we're going to hear from goalie coach Colin Fafra as well today, so it'll be good to check on him and see how those two guys. I think Gavin Hildebrand played in that game, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll see, and it was his turn anyway. I didn't get a chance to look at the results and what went on there, so
Yep.
I will do so in the meantime. But he looks forward to that challenge with RHA all the time, so he'll be disappointed he lost, but he understands that it's a good team and we got our work cut out for him. But good on our guys to be closer, competition, getting better.
Yeah, and Gavin Hildebrand did get the start in that matchup, Gordy. I got the stats pulled up right beside me, and
Million shots.
0-0 after the first 20 minutes. 2-1 RHA goes up in the second, and then the third just gets away from Pilot Mountain. Like you said, closer against the Academy's biggest rival,
Yep.
historically. How huge is that knowing that now this team is a step closer, but they got even more to look at and to work on for their upcoming games, knowing that they can start to put together maybe some more quality games moving forward.
Sure. Well, it's not perfect because you like to win the game, but maybe by one. But if you lose, but you're closer, so your coach can go in and go, Rick and Danny can go in and talk about that and go, hey, we're disappointed we lost, but we're getting better, and the kids can see that the shots on goal will be closer. All those good measurements will be be closer, and they'll also say, hey, you know what? We're getting better. You know, that's a better. RHA is not getting worse. I can assure you of that. And when they come in and play, they might have been a bit surprised that our guys were zero. They were 0-0 because they think they should score in every shot. That's how they're a bit cocky, maybe, but that's okay. They're a competent group, and they think they should win. Good for them. And so we push back, and good for us to push back. Goalie's got to be good, got to be, maybe even exceptional, but that's okay too. That's why we play the games, and Gavin missed being on that Team Manitoba team by third goalie guy on the team rather than the second guy. So, he might have been part of that Team Manitoba championship in the Western Hockey League Cup as well. But anyhow, so Gavin's spurred on by being cut and having this challenge about playing this RHA team, and so it's not a bad thing to lose the game. And our guys will continue to get better, and they'll get closer again the next time.
Yeah, and you asked about the shots for Gavin Hildebrand, Gordy. It ended up being 39 shots against, made 34 saves in that game. Pilot Mound is going to be in action coming up, the U17 preps
Elder.
on Halloween twice, early in the morning, and then well, late afternoon,
Yep.
4:30 p.m., both at Edge School in Calgary, Alberta. So this year's holiday, Gordy, for the Buffaloes U17 preps, it's gonna be a road trip down to the mountains in Alberta, taking on some quality opponents in these few games. They also have a game against OHA Edmonton again, or on November 1st. So they start off with the Edge early in the morning on Friday. Their weekend coming up, going up against three really good teams. What's the mindset coming off of a really good battle against a competitive rival?
Gotta bring your hockey IQ with you. You gotta bring your energy. You gotta bring your courage, your guts, your patience, and all those things, and hopefully your shot, so you can score a couple of goals and get to the net and do all those things. So yeah, again, our teams are not overly staffed with world-class goal scoring guys. So it means that our games are tighter. They have to be. We have to play well defensively. You got to play at both ends of the rink. And boy, there is nothing wrong with playing at both ends of the rink. First of all, our goalie likes that because our guys are helping out at our end. And obviously, you want to forecheck and you want to be on the other end, Tim, get a chance to score goals and whatnot. So, and as a player, coaches or general managers and scouts look for you to do those things so they can draft you or pick you on teams at the next level. And that's how you get to the next level. So you're not just trying to win the game by playing at both ends. You're trying to show the people that are, your next team, whoever that's going to be somewhere in hopefully North America, that you're ready to go and you can play at both ends and be competent and be relied upon. So good on them. This will be a tough weekend, but they're certainly capable.
Well, it's more important than ever, too, right? To be able to play both ends of the ice, given how fast the game is. The more reliable you can be if you can be a really good back checker, a really good defenseman, defend
Yeah.
against the rush, and goes a long way when you got the systems in place, which this U17 team has had historically good systems under Rick McConnell's brought them a few championships along the way. Their weekend ends up starting on Halloween morning, 8:30 a.m. in Calgary, Alberta, against the Edge. 3 games for the U17s this weekend. And as for the U18s, Gordie, they're going to be heading down to Thunder Bay, the female group, that is. We'll get into that in just a moment. 2 games this past weekend. Nax, OHA Edmonton. Things we don't have to talk about the score, but
We won't
ugly,
talk about the OHA game. We got
ugly result, but
but
first game a bit closer against
well,
Nax.
playing next to 4-0, that's a pretty good game. Again, we're not overly staffed with goal scoring people, so we probably didn't have as much offense as we'd like to have. But that's always a good team in that Northern Alberta extreme, and so good for us to be that close. OHA's even got a better team. I mean, my gosh, they beat Nax up all the time. So, you go and play those games. You just okay, we got to get this out of the way and go and get back to playing against teams that we can play against. And so the following week or this coming weekend, we're going to be in Thunder Bay against the Queens, Thunder Bay. And that was a big weekend for us last year. I remember I think we played 4 games down there last year and we came away with a bit of a split. So hopefully we can do the same thing this year.
Yeah, and before we get into that, like OHA Edmonton, they're more than good. They're a first place team in this league. 9 games played, 9 wins. Only one of those has gone to overtime. Now
Yeah,
up to 55 goals for and only 11 against, which is
just yeah. In
pretty
Canada,
fantastic.
don't be involved with those people.
But
Be good on them.
yeah, Thunder Bay last year, I remember when they had played them, it was a bit of a turning point in this team's system. It gave them belief because they were able to string together a really good weekend. I don't know if it was the first weekend or not, but I remember talking about how that's when this team started to buy into that defensive system more so. So a bit of deja vu, looking to I guess try to right the wrongs in the win column because it'll give this team a good boost here heading into the new month. How huge is this coming up, knowing that this team's looking to turn things around?
Yeah, this is this. Hopefully, the girls, the ones that were there last year, and the repeat players, will bring this up. I mean, I think we lost the first game, came close in the second game, and won the last two because we got into that defensive style. And I'm guessing we're still using the same sort of style, but hopefully, this will bring good memories, and they'll play well. It's a good team in Thunder Bay. It'll be good competition, and. Again, the girls will be seen by a lot of teams and people that don't normally see our players in their towns. So Thunder Bay is a good place. They've got a great college, they've got a university, and they've got teams that play out of those. And so we've had players play in both of those schools in the past after they've graduated from Pilot Mountain. So good on us to showcase our kids.
Yeah, and going up against an opponent in their home at Fort William First Nation
Yep.
Arena in Thunder Bay, Ontario, and that first game for the Buffaloes goes Halloween night.
Yep.
8 p.m. And then, yeah, I mean, a lot of time has been spent on the road for this team. In fact, every single game this season. So, end of a long road trip, even though they've been going back and forth, coming home, of course, doing school and stuff in Pilot Mountain. But I'm sure they're looking forward to this road trip ending coming up.
Yeah, it's been a long time for them to be home cooking for an entire bunch of time. I think they have all of November at home, so kind of a weird schedule. Getting the laundry done for the girls would be the hardest thing. I think that would be their biggest issue. But at the end of the day, by the way, those games are live on T-Bay Tel, Thunder Bay Telephone, not on Live Barn, not on Flow TV. Most of our league games are all on Flow TV. Some games are you'll find. Are on Live Barn, but these are on TV Tel. So it's much like Live Barn, but it's free. It's a free service that Thunder Bay Tel puts on for their people, and good for them because it can be expensive for kids to play hockey at all levels, and so good on the telephone company to spend some money and treat their customers.
Right on. That's great to hear that there's going to be a solution for those that aren't going to be able to make it out to that arena if they weren't able to. Now they know there's that solution that's being offered in Thunder Bay. Is yeah, 3 games for the Buffaloes. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then they head on home to prepare for the upcoming games in November. Speaking of money, marketing involves money. We won't talk about that specifically, but what's up with the marketing in general since the last time we've spoken, Gordie? Always fun to hear the updates.
Well, really neat that we just signed our good friends over at Federated Co-op, Pembina Valley Co-op, to be specific. We've worked hard together to try and get them locked into our program, and they've finally been able to find a way. And we're really pleased to have them. We're gonna have a drop the puck thing for those guys pretty soon, as well as others. And so that we haven't already done. We had to drop the puck for our two guys at Treble GIE and Alliance Accounting last week. So they made it to the newspaper. We'll get everybody else in. But yeah, marketing is really based. We base all of our marketing on really on recruitment. And so, and that's helped me. I just spoke to a guy, a scout. We're going to sign a former tryout player with us from Czechia, who's now in Denmark. Matej Stefchik is in Denmark, going to school and scouting. And he says he's scouted the best seven U17 players available and one girl. So he's already on the on the road checking things out. So hopefully we can get him more involved. And he's going to be one of our European scouts this year. So marketing and scouting kind of go together, recruitment, and yeah, everything aims in that direction. By the way, all of our games are schedules not only on the website, but on all four platforms on social media. So please go there, find our results, find our games, and tells you where to find them and which TV channels you can see them on, blah, blah, blah. So there you go. That's all I got.
Well, thanks, Gordie, for always keeping us in the loop. The best that anyone can at Pilot Mound, even though you're down in Winnipeg doing these interviews. But I hope you have a great weekend coming up. Enjoy everything that's going to be on your plate. And about a week from now, we'll see each other again.
Yeah, we will. And people out there, this little guy is out there with his business, G Show Productions. He was the camera guy for 12 hockey games on the weekend. He's a busy young man, and congratulations on the successes that you've had so far, Graham. Good for you.
Thanks, Gordie. Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia offers the widest selection of sports cards and signed memorabilia in the city. For dedicated casual and new collectors, Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia has everything a collector could ask for. Everything we sell is stored with care, and with help from our knowledgeable team, we'll help you find exactly what you're looking for. We carry Upper Deck hockey card brands like Series 1 and 2, The Cup, Ultimate, SPA, and plenty more. So what are you waiting for? Come down to Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia, Winnipeg's premier sports cards and memorabilia store. And welcome back to the Buffaloes podcast. Gordie Tumilson joining me on this edition of the show to start things up. As you saw by the promo screen we just flashed, and as talked about in the description of this episode, both U15 goaltenders will be joining me next in Gage, Romanchuk, and Kobe Parker. But before we get into it, just want to talk about the U15s and their upcoming games. They'll be going up against Pacific Coast Hockey Academy, Shawnigan Lake, and Rink Hockey Academy. For RHA, they would be the highest ranked team out of those. For Pilot Mountain, they're 0-9 to start off, no wins in CSSHL action, but going up against opponents where it's definitely a winnable game. Pacific Coast is 1-8. Shawnigan Lake is 0-4-1, and for RHA, it's going to be their toughest opponent, as RHA Kelowna is 5-4. But this past weekend, it really fired this group up. That was something that Gage had told me during our interview that was conducted last night, as the U15s, as me and Gordie talked about, coming into this upcoming weekend with two big wins over the AAA Esteban Bruins. And as for Gage and Kobe, they've been solid, all things considered, to start things off amidst Pilot Mound's U15s, getting off to a slower start compared to previous years. But it was great to get to know the two goaltenders, Gage from Alberta and Kobe from Saskatchewan, and they'll be joining the show next. It's Gage, Romanchuk, and Kobe Parker joining this edition of the Buffaloes podcast. Two players that are from outside Manitoba. Gage coming from Canyon Creek, Alberta. And Kobe from Martinsville, Saskatchewan. Boys, a bit over a month into the season now. First year of academy hockey at the U15 prep level. How's it been down in Pilot Mound, Manitoba to start things off?
It's been pretty good. Big, a little bit of a change in small town, being in like not very many people here, that kind of stuff.
What about for you, Kobe?
Yeah, definitely changed scenery. I've never played academy hockey before, so definitely faster paced hockey.
Oh, for sure. And I mean, a lot of these kids, WHL hopeful, of course, looking to crack WHL rosters, end up getting drafted. But for yourself, Gage, coming from Alberta, like you said, and coming to a smaller town in Pilot Mound, what's that adjustment truly been like in terms of you living a bit of ways away from home this year?
Uh, it's been pretty good. Like we've been keeping pretty busy, so it kind of distracts me from like being away from my family. So that really helps with like not getting homesick and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, a lot of hockey, a lot to do so far
Yeah.
down at Pilot Mountain Hockey Academy for you, Kobe, coming from Martinsville, Saskatchewan. Like you said, your first taste of academy hockey. How's the lifestyle been for yourself? You adjusting to it?
Yeah, it's been good. Like Gage said, we've been pretty busy, so haven't really had the time to like being homesick.
For sure. And I mean, a lot of players in the same boat in terms of moving away from home to pursue this on the U15 team. What's that like, knowing that you're able to relate with many of these players, knowing that they're going through the same thing, even though y'all are keeping busy and having fun playing the sport you all love?
I think it helps a lot. Like you said, we're all in the same boat. Like moving away from home. We're all like away from our parents, all that. And yeah, that helps knowing that there's almost almost 80 kids that are in the same boat as you.
Yeah, that collective and knowing that you can all relate to it in many ways is definitely huge for sure. Kobe, playing against the competition you've been able to face off against so far, how have you felt that your game has been able to translate to this level?
It's been good. There's still lots of things I need to work on, but I feel like started off pretty good.
What would be some of those things that you've noticed that may need some improvement that you're gonna look to improve throughout the year?
Just having control and staying focused through all 60 minutes, being locked in.
Yeah, having more longevity in your game throughout a full game for sure. That's definitely something great to strive for. What about for yourself, Gage, coming into this league? What do you say are the things that you found have maybe been the the things to adjust to the most so far?
I think I had a little bit of a shaky start to the season. For sure the pace, like the fast pace of hockey. Like I played double A in Alberta last year. Still good hockey, but still nowhere near like the level that the CS is in. And yeah, I think like Kobe said, improve on like staying focused, improve on my mental game a lot. And yeah.
Gotta ask you boys about, I'm not sure how much hockey you watch on your off time, but who would you, I guess, compare yourself in terms of playing style in today's NHL for those that might have never seen you play before? We'll start off with you, Kobe.
Um, Probably say like Darcy Kemper because we go to the same goalie coaches and work with the same guys, so and our playing style is pretty similar.
Right on. What about for you, Gage? Would that be the exact same answer, or you're thinking of someone else?
No, I probably would say I guess he's like not really playing anymore, but I would probably say Flurry since I'm kind of like always going for the desperation saves and everything and stuff like that.
Right. Very entertaining goalie, one of the most entertaining goalies I've been able to see in my lifetime. And yeah, pretty great player to be able to look up to and to and try to emulate. And like you said, Kobe, you two have had a chance to work with the same goalie coach who's also your head coach and Colin Fafara. What's that been like getting to build a relationship with him so far and get to work with him?
Yeah, I he's a good guy, knows his stuff. It's been good to work with. Definitely helped me get. He's definitely helped me get better.
I guess we could come back to you with the same question I'll ask Gage, but how have you felt that, or one of the biggest things, where would you say that maybe Colin's been able to help you out the most so far, just getting to work with him?
I think like yeah, he's a good guy. He'll yell at you when you do something wrong for sure, and I think that helps a lot. Like sometimes you need that boost of energy to improve your game, and yeah.
Would you agree with that, Kobe? Does that also fire you up and keep you locked in, like you've said you're going to be trying to improve on this season?
Yeah.
Right on, right on. For this team, huge weekend against the Vastavan Bruins, as this team was able to come away with two victories after coming away with a tough loss the weekend before to RHA. How huge was this to see this team as a group be able to bounce back against teams from different league competition?
I think it was good to see. Like, we've had a team's had a little bit of a tough start to the season. Like, we haven't won a game in the CS yet, so it really pumped up a lot of the guys that we finally won a game. So coming out of that weekend, I think gave us quite a bit of confidence, and yeah, helped out our team a lot.
Yeah, and just taking a look at the stats, Gage, you got the start in the 7-1 win, and then in that second game, the team winning 5-2. Kobe, you end up getting the start, facing a lot of action in net. Obviously, this team, like you said, Gage has started off with a tough go in the CSSHL, but I guess I'll ask Kobe this question first. How nice has that been, even if the team has been struggling to get into the win column, that you're getting to face a lot of pucks, seeing a lot of action here early on in the year?
Um, I I guess I kind of like the lots of shots because it definitely keeps me focused in the game, always having me doing something, so my mind can't wander and stuff. But
Would you feel the same about that, Gage, or are you more of the type of goaltender who likes to kind of more in a happy medium, not too much, but not too little? Or are you a big fan of the high volume of shots?
No, I'm quite a big guy on the high shots. Like I've really been getting them my whole hockey career, like U13 up to last year in Double A. It really like helps me improve my game, I find. And like Kobe said, you're not just sitting there doing nothing in your net the whole game.
Yeah. And I mean, really, you get the most out of the position that way, I feel like, too, right?
Yeah.
Facing a lot of shots keeps you, like you boys have said, in the game and keeps your head more in it for sure. Chance to finally get in the win column this upcoming weekend, starting off on the Friday against Pacific Coast Hockey Academy, going down to Winnipeg for these matchups. Yeah, like you boys said, this past weekend, fired up about the wins. How's this group's mindset and preparation been heading into what's going to be a tough weekend of action against CSSHL opponents?
I think, like I said, it really boosted our confidence level this weekend. And last week we had a pretty good week of practices, like a lot of focus, uh, working on improving our game. And I think we'll have a lot of confidence going into this weekend, and I think we'll pull off some stuff.
For sure. Looking forward to seeing it all. End off with asking Kobe one last question. A little road trip down to Winnipeg, Manitoba. Are you excited for that short little bus ride down? I guess for both of you guys. Lots of bus trips I've seen so far this year. What's that experience been like in the academy lifestyle?
Yeah, it's been fun. Never really played on a team that's taken a bus everywhere, so it's definitely been a change, but it's been fun.
Right on. And for you, Adam, you've been enjoying the bus trips this year as well.
Yeah, I have been. Really helps connect our team. So a lot those long bus trips like to Calgary, it was 12 hours, so really put us into a tight area and definitely make some new friends. So same with the dorms, same goes with the dorms. You're living together all the time, every day. So yeah,
Yeah, and that's a huge I guess aspect in academy hockey is you're always with the boys, always with the team.
yeah.
It just makes those bonding experiences that much more special and more frequent too. Gage and as well as Kobe joining this edition of the show. Two goaltenders from the U15 Prep Buffaloes. Boys, thanks for taking the time and best of luck this upcoming weekend down back, in Winnipeg this weekend. Enjoy the short bus trip out and best of luck against those three teams. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And Gage, Romanchuk, as well as Kobe Parker, both U15 goaltenders, joining me on this edition of the Buffaloes podcast. The Buffaloes this week taking on all teams where, I'd say the first two, like I've said before, seem more beatable on paper compared to RHA Kelowna, as RHA Kelowna a top 10 team in the U15 prep division to start things off, but they'll be traveling to Winnipeg, not as far as they've traveled before, a little less travel this weekend, as all games will be able to be seen on Flow Sports. If you're unable to make it down to the arena, it's a great alternative, of course. Canacom Group Travel are our sponsor for showing the games here on the Buffaloes podcast, your home for PMHA hockey. We're going to send it to a commercial break, and we'll be back for just more news around the academy and talking about just the teams in general, going into depth into how they're doing in the standings overall, because we haven't really done that much yet this year. That'll be coming up to end off this edition of the Buffaloes podcast on G Show Productions on gshow.ca. Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia offers the widest selection of sports cards and signed memorabilia in the city. For dedicated casual and new collectors, Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia has everything a collector could ask for. Everything we sell is stored with care, and with help from our knowledgeable team, we'll help you find exactly what you're looking for. We carry Upper Deck hockey card brands like Series 1 and 2, the Cup, Ultimate, SPA, and plenty more. So what are you waiting for? Come down to Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia, Winnipeg's premier sports cards and memorabilia store. And welcome back to this edition of the Buffaloes podcast, brought to you by Terrico Movement, Fitness, and Performance, goaltenders, as well as elite prospects, and Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia. We're also brought to you by Pilot Mounds, sponsors and partners, as we're, of course, one of their partners this year, and of course, still more to get into on this edition of the show to end things off. Currently 1:10 p.m. It's going to be over an hour long, but always like to try to keep things as jam-packed as possible in terms of the information we put out here on the Buffaloes podcast. As starting off with talking about something that's going to be coming soon in regards to their skill development programming. As for Pilot Mound, they're going to be giving some great updates soon on in-season and spring programs for their skill development programs. So that information is going to be available on their social media pages, like on their Instagram, PM Buffaloes, and also on their website, pilotmounthockeyacademy.com. .com, as you're going to be excited to see what that information is going to entail. By the way, Carson Carrolls ends up cracking the top 25, not top 25, the 2025 CHL Top Prospects game this season coming up. Carson Carrolls, future NHL draft pick, I would say, in our alumni news today. It's great to be seeing this, as Carrolls was also a part of a Team Manitoba squad that won the WHL Cup, was a huge part of it, as Gordie Tumilson had mentioned, was an MVP in that tournament, and going to be one of the next great players from Manitoba, I'd say. Hopeful that he's able to have himself a long career in the NHL. He's been amazing in the WHL, proving that his skills have been able to translate at all levels. As we'll be excited to see how Carson does in this year's CHL Top Prospects game, as the Prince George Cougars defenseman looks to make some noise in that game coming up. As for the one of the teams in Pilot Mound Hockey Academy, and that was the U15s. While they were down in Estevan, they had a chance to check out a matchup in the SJHL between the Estevan Bruins and the Battleford's North Stars. As for Pilot Mound, it's great that they're able to see this high level, knowing that Obviously the goal is to make it to the WHL, but this is also a pretty high level of junior hockey too that could lead to pathways that could lead you into professional hockey, whether that's the NHL or maybe somewhere in Europe, somewhere else in North America. There's leagues you can play in outside of the mainstream big leagues, right? So great for them to be able to see some local junior A hockey in action between two teams that have been around for quite a long time in the Estevan Bruins and the Battlefords North Stars. Those are two classic teams. As for Cole Landerville, on Team Manitoba's WHL Cup team, of course, we showed you his goals earlier, but for Cole, he had himself a great tournament. When taking a look at it, he was in the top 10 in terms of scores. More than that, he was tied for fourth in tournament points, and Team Manitoba was just loaded in this tournament. Athens Shingoose led the way with 12 points in 5 games. Team Manitoba plus the whole tournament, he was the points leader. Reed Nicole ended up having 8 points in 5 games for Team Manitoba. Talon Skanuka, 7 points, along with Nicole also having 7 points in 5 games played. But it goes on and on in terms of Team Manitoban players. I think that's one of the coolest names, Crosby Matejchuk. I don't know, I think Crosby just being a first name, you don't see that often. He also had 7 points, the exact same stat line as Cole, except he had 2 more penalty minutes. Cole had 2 penalty minutes. Matejchuk had 4. But yeah, Team Manitoba was deep, a team that may be underestimated in these tournaments by the bigger provinces like Alberta, but a perfect run for Team Manitoba. And when you look at the stats across the tournament for this team, like in the gold medal game, a 6-1 win over BC. They beat them 6-2 earlier on in the tournament. They opened up against Team Alberta, a close 3-2 win, and that ended up being a game that, yeah, ended up going down to the wire with Team Manitoba only winning by 1 goal. But after that win, they took off. Like, this team only allowed, just doing some quick math here, 6 goals throughout their next 4 games. 1 in the gold medal game. They won 4-1 in the semifinals against Team Saskatchewan, 11-2 in the preliminary round against Team Saskatchewan, and of course a 6-2 win against BC, dominating them in this tournament. And it's great because it's a statement of Team Manitoba just being here and knowing that they're gonna continue to be more of a problem. 2 WHL Cup gold medals in the past 3 years now for this province, which I think speaks volume of how the talent continues to rise here in the prairies. Speaking of other news from throughout the academy, well, the upcoming games, as for the U15s, as mentioned, they're 0-9 to start off the season, but this is a team that I think, if they can channel their performance from this past week, and they can have success this upcoming weekend, as Pacific Coast Hockey Academy comes into this weekend with a 1-8 record. Pilot Mound, I think that's a very winnable game for them. You look at so far, Pilot Mountain Hockey Academy, 74 goals for, 74 goals against, 17 goals for, is what I meant to say. So, looking for a bit more offense. I think that Brock Vauden, the performance he had this past weekend, I think that's huge. Someone needs to step up for this team to spark them in CSSHL play, and a team that doesn't have as notable talent as they've had in the past with Carson Carrolls, Benson Hurst, last season, Hildebrand, Landerville for about 2 seasons. They also had players like Brent Biors and, of course, Maddox Ramage, who has been lighting it up on the U17s. But Yeah, I mean, Brock, if he's able to have a big weekend, his team around him, does their part. They get solid goaltending from either Gage or Kobe. I think that they can come away with a few wins this weekend coming up. Knowing that Shawnigan Lake School, they got strong programs this year, but at the U15 level, they're a bit weaker. They're 0-4-1 to start off the year. 7 goals for, 42 goals against. As for Pacific Coast Hockey Academy, 20 goals for, 62 goals against. So when you compare that to Pilot Mountains, of course, Pilot Mountains' goals against is worse, but they've been able to put the puck in the net almost as much as Pacific Coast Hockey Academy and way more than Shawnigan Lake School to start things off. I know they played 4 more games played, but you got to take the wins where you can, right? And then RHA Kelowna, their top 9 team, just over 500. Negative 16 goal differential through 9 games. So if Pilot Mountain brings their best, maybe, just maybe, this team can come away with maybe 3 wins this weekend and start to go on a run. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see how this upcoming weekend plays out for them. As for the U17s, well, this team continues to be really good so far to start off this season. A strong past weekend for the U17s as they're now 5-2 in the CSSHL U17 prep division, and the way they got to 7-2, as talked about in this episode, well, they ended up having big wins against Indigenous Sports Academy, 7-1 and 3-0. A weekend ago now, as that was on the 18th and the 19th. So not this past weekend, but the weekend before. Of course, they lose to RHA Winnipeg by a score of 5-1 on the 25th, so on Saturday. But, other than that, this team has been surprising. I think maybe even some of the best teams in the league, as they're the only team to beat Edge so far this year, as Edge has been 7-1 to start things off this season. Pilot Mountain's third in the U17 division to start things off. This is a team that has a lot of depth on it, young players that have been stepping up. When we talk about players from the U15 program making impacts in this academy, well, Maddox Ramage, he's among the players at the forefront of that, as he's got 15 points in 10 games played this year, leading the Buffaloes in total points in total games played. And then you just look at the depth on this team. There's only 5 players that haven't scored goals. There's at least, just taking a look at it, about 6 or 7 players with at least 3 goals or more this year for this group. And yeah, for Pilot Mountain, actually make that 6 players with at least 3 goals or more. But they're getting depth, scoring by committee all around. They got solid goaltending in terms of Gavin Hildbrand and Yuki Kito, both advancing up from the U15 program too. And they're going to have a chance to prove it that they can do it again against the Edge this upcoming weekend on the Friday. But the next 2 opponents they're going to be playing, Saha and OHA Edmonton. Saha is out of the top 10, and OHA Edmonton is 19th. They haven't won a game yet through 4 games played. So, it's early in the season, and the records maybe not indicative of how good teams are right now. But Pilot Mountain's currently 3rd in this division, as mentioned, 5-2, with a good chance to keep things rolling. And if they bring their best against the Edge, well, who knows? Edge may be more ready for them this time around. They'll definitely step their game up. How can this U17 step theirs up? Well, we'll see how Rick McConnell has his group operating this weekend coming up. All of those games can be seen in flow as the U17s take a trip down to Calgary, Alberta for this upcoming Halloween and first weekend of November. As for the male U18s group so far this season, that is 4-3, They're actually 4-3-1 because they have dropped a game in overtime. But a team that, this past weekend, when taking a look at what they did once again, they end up, of course, getting a win, a loss, and then an overtime loss against that Thunder Bay team, 7th Fire Eagles. And for the Buffaloes, they played a physical team, a team that is quality to get them prepared for their solo game this weekend that is going to be in home in their long homestand that is actually coming to an end soon. Feels like we just talked about it starting, but yeah, this is a group that gets Cole Landerville back. Cole just had a big performance at the WHL Cup, was a huge part of Team Manitoba getting the gold there. And yeah, I mean, me and Gordie Tumilson, or him talking about him being on the U17s a match, and that if he is able to be with Maddox Ramage that year, that would be insane. But amazing that this U18 team is going to get him back. Only makes them better. And they're going up against a team in OHA Edmonton in this division that is a bit lower in the standings than Pilot Mountain, but not by much. They got a 3-4 record with in overtime loss in there as well. So this is a huge game for the standings early in the season. But if Pilot Mountain brings their best, they got a game breaker back into the lineup in Landerville. I think that things can go well for this group this weekend, as they'll be at home in Pilot Mountain. If you can't make it down to the arena, be sure to catch it on Flow Sports. And finally, with the U18 female group playing against Thunder Bay, me and Gordie Tumilson talking about it, how last year when they played this group, it was kind of a turning point in their season. They didn't have the most wins and haven't for, a number of years now. But this is a program that's trying to find its footing, and maybe they can channel something last year similar this weekend against a team in the Queens that this is always usually a solid program from Thunder Bay. This girls program. So it's going to be a good test for this group. And what I like about this U18 female group this year, at least, is anytime it seems like this group gets any, quality talent, they age out right away, right? But what the goal has been in building this team is finding quality in younger talent. And even though it hasn't been much this season, their goal scorers, when you look at 8 of them, out of them that have scored, 6 of them have a chance to return next year, and a handful of them have a chance to return for the next few years. As Rory Perrin leads the team with 3 goals, she's a 2009 born player, for example, so her grad year is going to be coming up not this year, but in 2027, actually 2 years from now, since it's 2025. Actually, I guess the next year, since it's technically 2026, then 2027 would be the end of her grad year. But you get the point that players are going to be coming back, and it's nice to know that 6 out of the 8 goal scorers they've had so far have been able to be those players that are going to be here and are going to hope to establish and continue to grow this culture that Carols and Fortney have been building up in Pilot Mound with this U18 program. But we'll see if they can find a way to channel something more in their game against Thunder Bay. Things have been rough to start off this season for the U18s. Has been blown out quite a bit, but hey, that's in the past. It's about moving forward and hoping that they can do so against Thunder Bay, able to at least win one of the 3 games to build some confidence. And overall, if they don't win games, I think Gordie Tumilson would agree with this, but keep things close at least with this group in Thunder Bay. This upcoming weekend is these Buffaloes head on the road. They play Halloween night, 8 p.m. Eastern time to start things off. Saturday and Sunday they'll play too. All games can be seen for free on Trey Tell Thunder Bay on YouTube, or just Trey Tell, as it says simply there on the screen. Of course, all the schedules, the report here brought to you by Canacom Group Travel, one of Pilot Mountain's sponsors this season, as this is where we say so long on this edition of the Buffaloes podcast. I've been your host, Graham, the G Show Forsyth. If you've enjoyed this edition of the show, be sure to subscribe. We come out with episodes every Wednesday. In episode 9, we can't wait to unveil the guests of that one. Stay tuned for it to release. And yeah, thank you to our sponsors, Pilot Mound sponsors, their partners, as well as Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia, Terrico, Elite Prospects, Goaltenders, and Movement Fitness and Performance for supporting us for another edition of this show. We got exciting content coming up tonight and throughout the weekend, and we'll have an exciting announcement next week to do with more content that you'll be able to access soon. Stay tuned for that. But until next time, everybody, take care. Tyson Unruh, his Juno Award winning anthem for this, or not, I guess not Juno Award winning anthem, but he is a Juno Award winner, and he's produced this anthem that we're going to end off with in this edition of the Buffaloes podcast. Take care, everybody. It's been your host, Graham, the G Show Forsyth, and I'm giving you the peace out and waving so long. Take care. Enjoy all the great hockey coming your way, Buffaloes fans, and we'll see you next week. Until next time, take care.